Joe Flacco will start if Dorian Thompson-Robinson can't. Now, Joe Flacco's on the street a couple weeks ago. The Browns signed him. He was on the sideline on Sunday. They can't keep rolling out P.J. Walker. Obvious to anyone, right? You watch these games, they weren't going to do it. So DTR remains in protocol. I think this means Joe Flacco is likely to start on Sunday for the Browns on the road at the LA Rams. Ken, where do we stand right now in this market? I think we're assuming that Flacco is going to go here.
Yeah, this market's been really interesting throughout the week. This was the game that we did Monday where I just go, I guess this number is okay. Every time I look at it, I just kind of can't believe this is where we are with the two teams, but it kind of makes sense. And that, this open Rams 4.5, it got bet up to more than that. And that was on the speculation that Myles Garrett was almost certainly going to miss the game with whatever this shoulder ailment is that we found out. There's just the reporting that's it's not structural, but then you hear the comments and it's and then the story's written that it is structural. I don't know. Myles Garrett's got something, and it might limit him. But where we sit right now in the market with Flacco going to start if DTR's not out of protocol, is the Rams are just 3.5-point favorites everywhere. And the 3.5s, a lot of them are juiced toward Cleveland, which kind of tells you that we might be coming back down to 3 at some point in this game. And to be honest, I guess that makes way more sense just because, if I really have a bad idea what the difference is between two teams, I'm really struggling with the difference between two teams, take the home team with the better quarterback and make them 3 and just let everybody figure it out. Just let everybody figure out what to do in the game. If that's going to be the case, it is interesting though, in terms of upgrade, downgrade, we've seen Deshaun Watson, and then we saw DTR, we saw PJ Walker, and now we've seen DTR again, and now we see Flacco. How do you create a Browns rating with all those things in mind? It's tough to do.
So if it closes Rams -3 and Joe Flacco is starting for Cleveland,
you're gonna Black Friday push people out of the way, the doors open at Macy's and you're betting the Rams. Yeah. And Garrett plays.
I don't think I'm betting Cleveland if the number's 3 and Flacco starting.
Okay. Do you think if DTR is in protocol and Flacco starts, do you think that will cause the number to move a lot?
I think the Rams would close either 3 -20 or 3.5 is my guess.
Yeah, I don't think the perception's going to be DTR's better. I don't think that's possible. The Browns quarterback news that came out today, and it's not it doesn't concretely say anything. It's just DTR's in concussion protocol, and if he does not clear protocol in time, that Joe Flacco will start on Sunday against the Rams. And the market for this game has been really interesting because of the Myles Garrett injury and all these injuries that the Browns have and the quarterback news. And Rams have some injuries of their own, to be fair. The Rams are currently a 3.5-point favorite, and the total, actually, now that I think about it, might be even high. 40 is the total in the market right now. Another total that starts with a 4 that maybe shouldn't with the Browns defense. What do we make of this game?
You hit the nail on the head, Ken. I think
right
the
last second,
a little bit high.
At the gun, I figured it out. Yeah.
You know what? Obviously, Myles Garrett matters. I'm not going to pretend like he doesn't. And let's say the amount of money I have on this game on the under is going to depend on his status and whether or not he's in there. Joe Flacco, likely going to start, taking the first team reps. What that tells me, honestly, is that they just don't want the crazy turnovers that PJ Walker or DTR have given them in recent weeks. They just want a presence that can manage the game. I like to bet unders when there's a guy that's trying to manage the game, a guy that's trying to pick up 5 yards on 3rd and 10 so that they have more room to punt and they can play the field position type of game. So there's that. The Rams, on the other side of things, Matt Stafford, low-key for several years, has been terrible against man coverage. And you would think you got Cooper Kupp, Tutu Atwell, Puka Nacua. These are guys that can beat man, but they've been horrible beating man coverage this year when they've all been on the field together. Cleveland Browns play the highest rate of man coverage in the entire league. What does Matt Stafford also struggle with? Pressure. That's why I'd really like Myles Garrett to play, because Cleveland can get after him. But I know everyone's like, oh, the Browns defense, it doesn't travel well. And that's true. It's been worse on the road. But I think there's enough stylistic matchups that favor them very heavily in this game where I agree, Ken. I don't think the first number on this total should be a 4. So I like the under in this one as well.
Let's start here with Philadelphia and San Francisco. And if you haven't seen the point spread, Baldy, I'm curious if you'll be surprised by it. San Francisco has been bet out all the way to basically almost a 3-point road favorite at the Eagles. Now, we don't know the status right now of Philly star right tackle Lane Johnson, obviously, for this game. Philly basically doesn't lose, and they might be a 3-point home underdog come Sunday, like a full 3-point home underdog. So the Niners are road favorite here. What do you think we see coming up on Sunday in Philadelphia with the Niners and the Eagles?
Well, I'm pretty sure Lane Johnson's playing. But regardless, I mean, I just think San Francisco is playing much better football than Philadelphia. The record doesn't really mean anything. Yes, they found ways to win. I saw them against Buffalo last week. Really, Buffalo could have won. Dallas could have won. I mean, Philly's finding ways. But they don't. Philly goes to sleep for long stretches of a time during games, offensively and defensively. They've been awful on third down defensively. Showed up again last week against Buffalo. And San Francisco just doesn't have holes in their team like that. I think, these people that set the line, I think they got it right. San Francisco, to me, looks like a better team. They start faster. They execute better. They don't wait for heroics, 59-yard field goals, with 20 seconds to go to get to overtime. They don't generally play like that. They got through the rough patch, a month ago. And I think they're on a stretch right now where, I think they have a chance to be the number one seed. I think that's probably in the back of their minds.
ACC title game, let's go with Florida State here. The Noles look like they might get bet out to a 3-point favorite in this game. It's 2.5 minus 15 against Louisville. It just lost to Kentucky, obviously. Total is 47.5. So, what do you think happens in the game? What's your bet for Florida State and Louisville? If Florida State loses also, and the favorites hold serve in the other conference title games, who do you think the fourth team is going to be in the playoff?
Well, the bet in this game is the under. I mean, it's taken massive hit since it was released on Sunday. So I would still say take under 47.5. I think that's going to go down just a little bit more. And then as far as the side goes, it's been all Louisville to this point, down to 2.5. Louisville, for me, is the side. I think they are absolutely going to upset Florida State, knock them out of the playoff. And there just isn't enough there from an offensive perspective. You look how limited they were in the passing game to some of the best explosive weapons that you have in college football with Keon Coleman. And Tate Rodemaker is just not going to be able to pull that off. Louisville is going to get the job done here. They're going to bounce them out. And yes, we're going to make history. No team from the 7th slot has been able to jump up into the playoff. Texas is going to be able to do that with a loss by Florida State here.
So just to emphasize that, Colin, playing out the favorites. I mean, it doesn't even have to be favorites, just Michigan, Georgia, winner of Pac-12 title game, Texas. That would be your 4-team playoff if Florida State were to get upset.
That would be the most beautiful 4-team playoff I've ever seen.
If you got that 14, I mean, that's a really likely situation. It's basically you just need one coin flip game, the ACC, to go a certain way. Okay, right. If it's Michigan, Georgia, I mean, well, and we could do the seeds too. Georgia would be the 1, Michigan would be the 2. They would play Oregon, which is an insane game, and then Georgia would play Florida State. And I talked about this in the first hour, Colin, whoever gets the 1 is a big deal this year if Florida State makes it, because you're going to win. You're going to beat Florida State in the semi. You're going to walk to the final. What would you want to do with those guys? I saw your projected point spreads. What would you want to do in those games?
You already said it. There is a master plan. If Florida State wins and they're going to the playoff, what is the master plan? The second that spread comes out against Georgia, you're hitting Georgia, because that number is going to get inflated and run probably 7 points, maybe 10 points by the time they kick a month later. You're telling me you're going to give me the SEC champion at full strength with those speeches that Kirby Smart likes to give, trying to convince them that they're underdogs against Florida State. Florida State would be in a lot of trouble against Georgia. I project the spread to be 14. I think it would open 16.5. I think it would close probably 19.5, 20. If Florida State ends up in the playoff, you're taking the first number against them that opens up on Sunday.